presentation of Fox Sports.
Tonight from Kansas City, it's Game 2 of the series between the Minnesota Twins and the Kansas City Royals. Tonight is a salute to the Negro Leagues as the Royals will be wearing the uniforms of the 1920 Kansas City Monarchs, and the Twins will be wearing the 1909 version of the St. Paul Colored Gophers. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Physiak. This is Rex Hudler, and maybe the Royals can take a little inspiration from wearing those Kansas City Monarchs uniforms. They were a team that won 10 championships in their first 25 years, so that says quite a bit.
You would hope that the younger players, especially the Royals in this generation, would take the professional attitude that the Negro League players had, the way they didn't care about the heat, they didn't care about where they were in the standings, just playing the grand game for the love of it. That's what the young players need to understand. It's all about being a pro.
For this one night, they can think about the past. They're wearing the uniforms of the greatest pitcher of all time, a man like Satchel Paige, and a great star like Jackie Robinson. It's the Twins and Royals next. Is brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. When you play, students win. By your Kansas City Chevy dealer, the official vehicle of the Kansas City Royals. And by Blue Bell Ice Cream. Celebrate National Ice Cream Month with Blue Bell's newest flavor, Summer Strawberry Pie.
In this second game of the series for the Royals. Welcome back to Kauffman Stadium. I'm Joel Goldberg. Mendoza, in his first 5 starts of the year, a 7.60 ERA. Then went back to the bullpen, but since rejoining the rotation June 12th, a 3.10 ERA. So what's been the biggest difference?
I just think he's commanding the ball well. He's pitching ahead in the count. He's starting to use the outside part of the plate more. Early in the year, he was predominantly pounding the inside part of the plate, and now he's mixing his pitches much more effectively.
5 of his last 6 starts have been quality starts, including a dominant performance against the Twins. Mendoza takes the hill. Coming up next.
High definition by Time Warner Cable, the official TV, internet, and home phone provider of the Kansas City Royals. As we told you earlier, the Royals and Twins are donning the uniforms of the Negro Leagues for tonight's middle game of this series. The Twins are wearing the uniform of the St. Paul Colored Gophers, and they will start things with Denard Span, their center fielder. Luis Mendoza is the Royals' starting pitcher. And after being really brutalized by the heat earlier in the week, it's really a comfortable evening tonight at the ballpark, Hud.
Yeah, it's only 99 degrees. So we're under triple digits, but it's cool. There's a little bit of a breeze. And Mendoza's hoping he can execute his pitches and breeze by. Now, elevation is not good for Mendoza. He's a sinker ball pitcher. He'd like to be able to work that sinker in. Also, his changeup and curveball to slow the bats down of the Twins.
It is a cool 99 degrees.
I agree with you.
I like that. Here is Luis Mendoza with the 1-2 pitch. And Span swings and misses. Good start for Luis. Ron Gardenhire is the skipper for the Minnesota Twins, and he will have a lineup that has Span to start things. Then Ben Revere, plenty of speed at the top, followed by balance and power in the middle. Maurer, Willingham, and Domet. Chris Parmelee, Brian Dozier, AT KCA, and Jamie Carroll. One notable absence. Justin Morneau is on paternity leave. His wife is delivering their second child, so he will not be here this evening.
And without Plouffe in their lineup, that's a bonus for the Royals to have those bats missing.
Ben Revere went 1 for 5 last night, and he sends that one to Eric Hosmer, and the Kansas City Monarch gets the out at first base.
Love those uniforms. They're outstanding, especially worn by the Negro Leagues. Now for Mendoza. My report for him, and it's sponsored by Kia. We're going to talk about the way Mendoza's been pitching and the fact that on June 29th, against this Twins team at their park, he dealt. He went 8 innings, only gave up 1 earned run. That's what they would like to see from him.
And it was the first time he had started a game in the major leagues and not walked a batter. 8 innings, no walks, 5 strikeouts. He delivers low to Joe Mauer, who had a huge game yesterday. 3 for 4, 2 singles, a key double in the 11th inning, and scored on Josh Willingham's base hit. Minnesota escaped with a 2-1 victory in game 1 of the series. Two and 1.
It's important for Mendoza, but especially against these guys and establishing himself as a perennial starter for this Royals team, to go ahead and keep the ball down, give him the lowdown. I talked about 8 was great. How about upgraded arsenal? I forgot to tell you, he's developed a new pitch from pitching coach Dave Island, a 4-seam cutter. And that's a pitch that's really helped him get some movement going west. He's got a sinker that moves east, cutter moves west, curveball and changeups go south. Good movement on pitches that's given him a little extra boost with confidence as well. There it was.
Line to Luis Mendoza, who makes the catch. He has a perfect first inning. We head to the bottom of number 1. KC coming up. Time for the time and temperature, brought to you by the parking spot. 99 degrees at first pitch at 6:09. Kansas City comes in at 39 and 53. They're suffering on a 2-6 homestand. They'll start with Gordon, Escobar, Butler, Kane, Perez, Moustakas, Francoeur, Hosmer, and Betancourt. And on the hill for Minnesota will be Scott Diamond, who was terrific against the Royals when they met in Minneapolis.
Man, he's been terrific most of the season that he's been here. He's very effective throwing hard cutters into right-handers. He's got some pretty good off-speed pitches as well with his curveball and changeup. But the main reason he's so successful is he throws strikes. 13 walks in 85 innings, and one of those 13 was intentional. Right-handers hitting .259 against this left-hander with 5 homers. Lefties are hitting better, .313 with 4 homers because they don't have to face the cutter, which jams a lot of guys.
And he didn't even make it to the bigs until May 8th this year, and he ranks 8th in the American League in ERA at 2.96. His 85 innings pitched since then ranked 12th in the American League. He has been their best pitcher this year. And Gordon sends one up the middle after having his 9-game hit streak end yesterday. Alex singles sharply up the middle.
It's all you do when a hitting streak ends. Start a new one the next day. All right, Span's out there in center field. He's a go-getter. So is Revere. They've got some skills out there. Jamie Carroll, he's at third base. How about Chris Parmalee? He just got called up to take Morneau's spot at first base. And there's a young man that's pretty thrilled about being here. Look at, he can hardly contain the smile on his face. He's in a big league game in a Negro League uniform, the St. Paul colored Gophers.
Called up when Justin Morneau had to go off on paternity leave. He and his wife are celebrating the birth of their second child. The batter is Alcides Escobar. He had 3 hits yesterday and 2 clutch ones late, but the Royals were unable to score him. They suffered that 2-1 loss in game 1 of the series.
I love the way 2 of those hits turned out. They were hustle doubles. He's a confident, hot hitter right now. One of the Royals' best. 364 in his last 10 games.
A chopper up the middle, and this is bobbled by the second baseman, who thought at first he could get the double play and winds up with nothing.
Very difficult play for KCA. You want to think on a play like that where you got to come in and it's a short hop to think about getting one for sure. But you're right, he kind of was trying to be cute, and I believe that's a knock. I don't know if they would have thrown Alcides out, but you could see where KCA's head was. He was looking up. He wasn't even looking at the ball. That's why he couldn't catch it.
He will be charged with an error, and for KCA, just his 6th this year. This is a pretty good defense. They have made just 57 errors this year. That's middle of the pack. The batter is Billy Butler with 2 on. Royals would love to jump on Minnesota very quickly. They've scored just 2 runs in their last 18 innings.
They need a grudge victory this afternoon. And what I mean by that, pound the guy. I don't care if it's Verlander or a reincarnated Nolan Ryan. No matter who's pitching, pound him and don't let up off the accelerator.
Diamond has a lot of pitches that break down in the zone. He has been very good at getting double plays this year. Billy does not run that well, and Butler 0 for 9 since that game-winning home run he struck on Wednesday.
The whole uniform tonight on both sides is a beautiful thing, especially the bill. Look at how short and tight the bills are.
Foul.
The fact that these 2 teams and organizations are honoring the Negro Leagues here in Kansas City is a beautiful thing. Those guys went through a lot. They persevered. They played the game the right way. They played hard. And hopefully some of these players out here on the field got to go to the Negro League and check that out and check out the museum.
The number 42 is retired by every single Major League Baseball team. The number of Jackie Robinson, who broke the color barrier and played for the Kansas City Monarchs. Hit sharply. 4, 6, and 3 double play.
"13th double play Billy Butler's grounded into. He hit the ball hard. That's all you can think about.
So Scott Diamond will face a right-handed batter in Lorenzo Cain.
What I meant is that's a positive. Now hitters, they don't want to think about that. They only think about the double play he just hit into. But Billy Butler, he squared it up.
That's a base hit. A clutch one for Lorenzo Cain. And Gordon scores to give Kansas City a 1-0 lead.
That's how you hit with 2 strikes and a runner at third. Be aggressive, especially against a guy that throws strikes. You already see the numbers coming in. 13 walks. Come on, man. This guy is a strike thrower, so be aggressive. Lorenzo Cain was ready, and first pitch got the job done. I'm sure that's what the long team meeting was about today that Ned Yost held with his team. I'm sure that was one of the things they talked about, was getting runners home from third.
Now Salvi Perez, who has hit in 18 of his 20 games he has played in this year. Started on the disabled list because of a tear in his left meniscus. But he has really played well, both offensively and defensively, and you can see the numbers. 370 with 5 home runs in just 20 games.
How about 450 and 3 homers against left-handers this year? So he's been dangerous.
Cain looking for his first stolen base, and I understand part of the conversation that Ned Yost had was, fellas, let's just try and be good. Lately it's been good starting pitching, not so good offense, and sometimes they feel like the guys are pressing, trying to do more than they're capable of doing.
And I'm sure there was many more things that were said. And we're not in their clubhouse. We're not a part of their team down there. So, but having been on losing teams and been on some winning teams in my career and have many meetings, I can tell you exactly what the gist of the conversation was. And it was probably a one-sided conversation by the skipper.
Well, that's what he told us. He said it's really a private affair between me, the coaches, and the 25 players. But he knows it was the day in Minnesota that really things started going south. Kansas City was 35-39 on June 30th after beating the Twins 4-3 in a game Mendoza pitched. But since that time, they are just 4-14.
And this team is better than what they're showing. Don't try to carry the load. Just try to do your job. And forget about all the little negative things, especially the weather. Nobody wants to hear you complain about how hot it is. Go out and execute and be happy you're a big leaguer. Your time is short here. Go out and play like it.
Salvi hits one to short. They get the force at second base, but the Royals do score a run on a 2-out base hit by Lorenzo Cain. baseball history while helping maintain an iconic Kansas City landmark. Select jerseys being worn by the Royals and Twins during tonight's game will be autographed, authenticated, and auctioned, with all proceeds benefiting the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. Players from the Royals taking part include Billy Butler, Alex Gordon, Eric Hosmer, Lorenzo Cain, Alcides Escobar. The auction is currently open, so go to Royals.com/auction now to place your bid and learn more. And if you haven't had a chance to get to the Negro Leagues Museum, it is absolutely brilliant. Bob Kendrick was talking with Joel Goldberg in our pregame show, and Bob, of course, is the director of the Negro Leagues Museum. And I loved his quote when fans come through. They usually say, "I didn't know that."
Exactly right. That's what I said when I left.
Rex, I knew all about the Kansas City Monarchs because growing up, reading biographies about Satchel Paige and Jackie Robinson, but I knew absolutely nothing about the St. Paul colored Gophers. And that's the uniforms being worn by the Minnesota Twins. They were a small black baseball team formed in 1907, but they only lasted 4 years. And the Twins wore these uniforms in the past in 1997 and 2005.
Defending, sponsored by Ford. We'll see Lorenzo Cain in center field. He's getting his legs underneath him after missing 74 games. It's obvious that he's going to need some conditioning out there to kind of get in some game shape, but he's coming along. He says it's getting better day by day. You see Hosmer at first base. Some fans might be saying, well, why is he hitting 8th? Well, it's because he's hitting .205 against left-handers, but he wins a lot of games defensively with his skills at first. That glove of his is magical. It's got a magnet in it, and the ball's metal, and everything that bounces, it sticks in his glove.
I didn't know the ball was metal, and I didn't know you were allowed to have magnets in your glove.
That's how it looks with that guy at first.
Ooh, a big swing by Ryan Domet. Salvi Perez went out to have a conversation with Luis because he was down in the first inning, but he's been up a bit in number 2. Domet has good power with 7 home runs and 41 RBIs this year. Up the middle. Escobar. Got him! Wow, it looked like Eric Cooper was going to signal save HUD, and then he brought his right arm back and fired it down like he was out.
Well, that's Eric Cooper over there, and watch this. Now Escobar, watch him stop. He slips, but still has the athleticism to get the double play. And Eric Cooper, first base umpire, he gave the save sign, and then he dropped the hammer. Well, look at Escobar. Look at this. You don't plan on the slip. But the fact that he has that athleticism to be able to get his feet under him and complete the double play is a big reason why Mendoza is successful out there. He's a sinker baller.
So there's 2 outs after the double play that Ryan Domet hits into. But Rex, I'm still smiling about Eric Cooper's call. Either way, he's right. You know, he had him safe and out, so it happens.
That's right.
This is a fine umpiring crew we have today. Jeff Kellogg behind home plate, Cooper at first base, Marty Foster's at second base, and DJ Rayburn is at third.
Now DJ, he's young. He's probably a fill-in for a guy that's on vacation during the summer, one of the regulars. He had a little bit of a tight strike zone last night, but he'll get better as he gets on.
Chris Parmelee is a young man with good power. Hit a home run against the Royals when they were in Minnesota. He was just coming off the bench at that time. But Morneau got hot. He had more at-bats. They sent Parmelee back to the minor leagues, and he is just spelling him on this paternity leave.
But he knows that just spelling a guy could mean a job for him if he can do something special.
The 2-2 is knocked into right center field, so Parmelee gets a base hit with 2 outs.
Mendoza, we talked about his four-seam cutter early in the first inning. Okay, now that's the running away sinker that it didn't sink. It's elevated. Whenever it's elevated, it's got a good chance to be squared up. But he got 2 outs in that first inning on Denard Span and Revere on that cutter. Broke Revere's bat, and he got the line out by Mauer. So he's feeling pretty confident about his new pitch.
Now Brian Dozier, the shortstop, takes strike one.
Dozier's a nice player. He's got good, quick feet in the infield. He went through a little spell there where he was having some yips at shortstop. And, you know, when you're young and sometimes you make an error or two, then it kind of gets in your head. But I like some of the things he does. He's very rangy. He's quick, runs well, and he puts the ball in play. He's got a little pop. He's got 4 homers.
"25 years of age, from Tupelo, Mississippi. The Twins' 8th-round pick in 2009 out of the University of Southern Mississippi. Parmalee does not go, and the pitch is knocked to Escobar. They get the force. Mendoza with 2 shutout innings. KC takes a 1-0 lead to the bottom of the second at Kauffman Stadium. Legacy suite is Barbara Smallwood, and Barb is a retired registered nurse and was one of the first volunteers for the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. Barbara's late husband, Woody Smallwood, played in the Negro Leagues and was the first president of the board of directors of the museum. With the Smallwoods' efforts, the museum has grown from a small room containing memorabilia to the museum as we know it today near 18th and Vine in Kansas City.
Congratulations, Barbara Smallwood, for your contributions.
Here is Mike Moustakas.
And also, being the wife of a baseball player is not what it's all cooked up to be either.
Well, particularly in those old barnstorming days when they'd go from city to city by train.
And no money. I mean, a little bit, but nothing like, you know, they make today.
Yeah. Well, the Kansas City Monarchs were a very, very successful organization. They were the longest running franchise in the history of baseball's Negro Leagues, and a charter member in 1920 through 1930. They played the first Negro Leagues World Series in 1924, and the Monarchs won it. Moustakas into shallow center field. That will drop. Second straight inning, Kansas City has their leadoff man on.
How about that? You love a doinker, especially if you get the doinker in your first at bat. That turns into a line shot later. Hitters love them. They got to have those.
He has been handcuffed a little bit lately. Just 1 RBI in his last 7 games. And here's another guy who has struggled the last month and a half. Jeff Francoeur. He had a very quiet April, a loud May. He had 15 extra base hits alone in the month of May, but then just 3 in June. And he's been fighting to break out of it again. He's always been a hot, cold guy, but he's never had spells this long that have been filled with this drought. Just 3 RBIs in the last almost 4 weeks.
And that's why Ned's got him down in the order, hitting 7th. He's been
off his leg.
He's been fouling a lot of them off of his foot. He's been very aggressive, and that could be one of the reasons. He's and other pitchers and scouts, they see that, so they're not going to give him a good pitch to hit. That hit off his back leg. Now that ball was 3 inches inside, so they're not giving him any cookies over the middle. And why would you if he's going to swing at your pitch?
Down in the count, 0-2.
He's got a really good 2-strike approach. He spreads out and he goes to hacking, and he may not look pretty, but he puts the ball in play with 2 strikes. But he's got to be able to put his A swings on early in the count and get some good pitches to drive in order for him to be the Frenchie they expect to be. He's been hitting 0-2, 1-2 most of the time because he's too aggressive. He wants to come out of it too badly.
Well, he's seen 4 pitches in this at bat so far.
I think has he swung at all of them?
Except the one in the dirt.
A little bit too over aggressive. Wants to stay short with his swing. I talked to him before the game. He said, Hud, I'm trying to stay shorter with my swing. I know you get on me for being too long with my swing. I'm trying. You shorten it up, it's more compact.
Down the line.
Nice. It was called foul. Good practice, though, for Jamie Carroll, even though he doesn't need practice. Can't assume anything in baseball, though. You got to play it out until the umpires let them call fair or foul. Can't assume anything.
Jeff's numbers go up dramatically in the positive sense the more pitches he sees. This will be the 6th pitch in this at bat.
And I think that goes true for most hitters. The more pitches they see and the more they foul off, they're getting closer, 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 but they're staying aggressive and they wait for the mistake and they hit it. Like Betancourt last night, good example. On the 8th pitch, after he fouled off a bunch of them and he missed some good pitches, he finally connected. Good take.
Diamond usually gets his outs within the first 3 or 4 pitches, but this will be the 7th now that Jeff will see in this at bat. Right center field, shading his eyes is Ben Revere in right. He'll make the catch, and Moustakas back to first base. Time to take a look at our Sprint You Call It. And you can text 432-432 to this question. Which Negro Leagues player would you have most liked to have seen play? The keyword is Royals. Cool Papa Bell was the batting average, with a batting average that reached .384 in 1932. Josh Gibson was the great power hitter, hit 962 home runs, but the guy that I would choose is Leroy Satchel Paige. who I read several biographies growing up, fell in love with the guy. He could have been the greatest pitcher of all time. Just the stories you hear about the great Satchel Paige and his control are phenomenal. And he pitched for the Monarchs.
In his windup.
There's a base hit to right field for Eric Hosmer. Moose stops at second base.
Okay, my favorite in that group there would be Cool Papa Bell. Because that guy, he had lightning speed. He could run with anybody that's ever played this game. He was lightning quick. Now, how about that? First pitch hacking again by Hosmer. Get him before he gets you. Good mentality there. Big hole there, use it.
The quote about Cool Papa Bell was he was so fast that when he turned the lights off to go to bed, he was in bed before his room got dark.
and that was from Satchel Paige said that.
Satch had some great sayings. I read a story about Satchel playing in the Negro Leagues, and they were having a game, and it was not in Kansas City. It was an away game, but he was with the Monarchs, and the opposing fans were so derogatory towards the opposition that Satchel, he was going through his act, his circus routine with the windup and letting guys get on base and just fooling around, and he finally said, "I've had it." And he told all of his infielders and all of his outfielders to sit down. And the best hitter was at the plate, and he struck the guy out on 3 pitches. The fans shut up.
Sit down. I'll take care of business.
You bet. I love that story.
Let's see if Betancourt can, like he did last night. He got a big RBI to tie the game. And I like his approach, what he's doing right now. While he's in the box in the ready position, he's moving his bat back and forth. Rhythm right there. That's called rhythm. He's staying loose. And now he comes up, and his 10 seconds to focus is on the clock.
Sends it up the middle. Base hit. Moustakas comes home. Racing to third, Hosmer. Kansas City goes in front 2-0.
All right. Hit the top half of the baseball up the middle. A 2-hopper. Second hop always picks up speed. No chance. Good piece of hitting there. And another hit with a runner in scoring position. Take it to him. Run the bases. That's one of the things I'm sure they talked about in the meeting as well. The Royals have not ran the bases as aggressively as they did last season. They've played a little bit more safe to the base, and I think that's one of the things they talked about is Ned letting these guys go again. Put the pressure on the defense to throw you out, make a perfect throw.
Alex Gordon with a base hit scored the Royals' first run on the single by Lorenzo Cain in the first. Royals already with 5 hits off Scott Diamond, who came in with an 8-3 record and an excellent 2.96 earned run average in 13 games. He went. And you can see the way he flipped the bat, angry with himself at swinging at a pitch that far out of the zone.
You know, he fooled him. He was looking for something else, and that happens sometimes. I'm not a big fan of showing the pitcher that he fooled me by flipping my bat in the air like that, though. I was careful what I showed the catcher and the pitcher. Sometimes, though, you can set guys up like that.
So he comes back with a similar pitch, and this time Alex lets it go.
Here's an example. Fastball down the middle, and you take a step out and you go, oh. Tells the catcher, oh, he really wanted that one. You ain't getting that one again. That's what happens.
Balls, 2 strikes.
So when you get a hitter to swing at a pitch and you fool him like he did Gordon, you stay with it. You know he's going to try to swing at it again. So that's what Diamond's doing here, throwing nothing but hard sliders down and away from Gordon. But Gordon's been really good during this last month or so because he's staying inside the ball and shooting the ball to center and to left field. Span, the center fielder, is playing him to the opposite field.
In there, strike 3 called. Diamond surprised him with a fastball when Alex looked like he was expecting that slider again to break away.
Okay, with a runner in scoring position at third base in less than 2 outs, you got to be swinging anything close.
Just a reminder, fans, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Alcides Escobar reached on an error his first time up.
I don't know. I'm going to give him a hit on that, but I'm not the official scorer. That was a tough play for Casilla to throw him out at first.
But you're playing one on TV.
Yeah, but you know, I've tried to make that play before, and with a speedy runner, when you're coming in, running away from first base, trying to pick it on the run, stop and throw and get the guy out at first, the degree of difficulty is very hard.
You're also FOE.
What's that?
Fan of Escobar.
Yes, I am. I confess. Now, I like all of these players. Now, on both sides, I like baseball players, big leaguers that play hard. I don't have any particular favorites on this Royals team. I like them all.
Diamond with a good pitch as he broke it all the way down to 81 miles an hour, and Escobar with a big swing.
You got to be creative to get a hot hitter out like Escobar. Change speeds on your fastball. Throw different speeds with your slider. One a little tighter, the other a little bit slower.
He has already thrown 38 pitches. He was at that mark, but in the 5th inning of that start in Minneapolis when he beat the Royals. Kansas City being a little more patient with Scott Diamond tonight.
It's that slider in the dirt that makes it very hard for righties to lay off of. And he does cut them when he throws them belt high. He cuts them inside 2 inches off the plate and gets a lot of jam shots.
Well, it has been a remarkable turnaround for Scott Diamond. I mean, in his career in the minor leagues, he was only 32 and 34, 3.77 ERA. Last year, he was miserable, 4-14 record with an ERA of 5.5. So that's why you have to ask the question, what happened to this young man a year later?
He got smarter. He started to understand that location's everything. I can make a living in this game not being overpowering. When young guys throw 98, 95 consistently, you can get away with mistakes over the plate, but not when you're 88 to 90. And he says, you know what, less is more. He's learned how to pitch and hit his spots.
Ron Gardenhire is impressed with his poise, his ability to get back in the count. He very rarely gets rattled. Escobar, deep short, long throw, got him. Good play by shortstop Brian Dozier to get the speedy Alcides Escobar. Royals do score 1 in the 2nd.
he thinking that he can throw a fastball by you, and you knowing you got him set up where he can, and you hit it out of the ballpark.
Joel Goldberg back at Kauffman Stadium out here in left field with Bob Kendrick, president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, and running a soundbite there of Hank Aaron at a round table during the All-Star festivities with Dave Winfield and Frank Robinson. I mean, could you have asked for a more amazing event?
No, we couldn't. I mean, it was really legitimately history in the making. And, you know, anytime you've got a room with Hank Aaron in the room, and then you add Frank Robinson, and then I asked my good friend Dave Winfield if he would moderate the discussion. He didn't hesitate because he understood, you know, this was a history-making opportunity as well.
Let's talk about today, and it is always great when we have a chance to honor the Negro Leagues in front of a lot of people. And we saw last month in Minnesota, up in the Twin Cities, it was the Minneapolis Millers uniforms and the Kansas City Monarchs. Here tonight, the St. Paul Color Gophers and the Monarchs. How important are events like this?
Very important because, again, it helps, number one, connect those young athletes to the history and legacy of the Negro Leagues. It also serves to kind of help people become more aware of the history of the Negro Leagues, and hopefully in doing so, more aware of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum.
We had you on our pregame show today, Hy-Vee Royals Live. My favorite moment, and we always love having you on, was you talking about the Buck O'Neil bobblehead today, and I found something out about Buck, about how important these bobbleheads were to him.
Oh, man, he would have loved this one. And this one, they really captured the essence of Buck, Buck at that later stage, because we all love Buck. We never saw him play. But the very first one we did was Buck as a player, and he just absolutely loved that bobblehead. You know, all these great things that he had won, all the great accolations that he had gotten, that bobblehead meant as much to him as anything that he had ever gotten, any coronations he had ever gotten before.
Unbelievable, a man that accomplished so much, and all it was a little bobblehead to make him happy.
He loved seeing himself as a bobblehead Buck, as he would call himself, but it was precious.
Tell me about the All-Star festivities and the amount of attention that you had on the museum. I know that you spoke to the Kansas City Chamber of Commerce the other day. What did that week mean as far as exposure?
Well, I think it was one of the most significant things that ever happened to our museum, going back to the grand opening celebration in 1997, and in some ways it even eclipsed the grand opening celebration because we're talking about a world stage that was provided for the museum, and we really wanted to seize the moment. The attention that we got was just phenomenal.
Great double play there, and let's talk a little bit more about the museum. And it's you know, you and I have talked about it so many times, such a treasure to Kansas City and to the country too. And you were talking about how people come in there and they really learn something that they never really knew much about.
No, because this wonderful piece of baseball and Americana is not in the pages of American history books. So countless generations of us have gone through our formal educations without knowing the significance, without understanding the breadth, the depth, the scope, the magnitude of what this wonderful piece of history represents. And it's all there at the museum. And so you walk through, and all of a sudden you're learning a new piece of history. So you're excited about it, but you know what, Joel, you're also a little bit dismayed that you just now had the opportunity to learn this. Why didn't I know this when I was in school? But, you know, that's what we're here to do, to make sure that future generations have an opportunity to learn and be inspired by these men who just wanted to play ball.
A lot of Twins fans came out to the museum today, and they got a bit of a treat for the gentleman that's back here in the suite with you.
Tony Oliva. The legendary Tony Oliva was there at the museum today. He did a wonderful discussion with him about his illustrious baseball career. You know, he and Buck were very close, and so when we learned from the Royals that this year's Salute to the Negro Leagues would be with the Twins, we immediately reached out to Tony. He was so generous to give up his time, donated his time to be there today, and it was a huge crowd out for Tony O.
I wanted to ask you, before the inning ends, about what an event it was on a Sunday when those games were being played in those big stadiums for the Negro Leagues. I mean, this wasn't just, maybe I'll go to a game.
Oh, no. You know, it was so big that black churches would actually move their service time up an hour. Now, if you know anything about the black church, you don't mess with service time 11 o'clock Sunday, go to meeting. When the Monarchs were home, service started at 10 o'clock. Everybody left church looking good, dressed to the nines, as they would say, headed to the ballpark for what was usually that Sunday doubleheader.
Want to let everybody know also that these uniforms that you're seeing tonight from some of the select players, they're going to be autographed, chance to raise money for the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, and you can get online and bid for those right now at royals.com/auction. So that's certainly important to let everybody know. I saw a good quote the other day because they were talking about Anthony Ghost, the speedy minor leaguer coming up for Toronto, and out came one of the great Negro League baseball player quotes of all time. Tell us about it.
Well, you know, the legendary cool Papa Bell, who Satchel said was so fast that he could walk in the room, turn off the lights, get in bed, pull up the covers before the room went dark.
And with that, we will go dark for a moment and head to a commercial. Always a pleasure to catch up with Bob Kendrick. More baseball coming up from Kauffman Stadium.
Faith and Family Night at the K on Saturday, August 4th, when the Rangers come to the ballpark. The event will feature a post-game speech by Rangers slugger Josh Hamilton and a performance by Dove Award-winning artist Building 429. This game has a special start time of 5:10 p.m. Go to Royals.com/faith or call 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets. Billy Butler will lead things off for Kansas City, the number 3 hitter in the lineup. Speaking of family and faith, Bob Kendrick, the president of the Negro Leagues Museum, was talking about Monarch fans and their churches moving up the church service time up an hour. There's a reason for that, because the Monarchs were a great team. They won 10 championships. Kansas City is really a baseball town when you think of the Monarchs, the Blues, the A's, the Royals. I mean, going all the way back. And the Monarchs, we told you, were the longest running franchise in the history of the Negro Leagues. Kansas City, Rex, sent more players to the major leagues than any other team. They finally were disbanded in 1965.
I want to go online and see if I can get one of those jerseys.
Billy Butler rolls one up the middle. So Billy breaks that 0 for 10 slide he had been in with a single up the middle, and Kansas City now has 6 hits in the game.
You know, I shared earlier about how cool it is to see these guys in these uniforms. You know, that's a nice hit there by Billy, by the way. Top spinner, right? Perfect spot. But I really enjoyed the pregame show. I liked all of the High V Royals Live pregame shows hosted by Goldie and Jeff Montgomery. They're very informative, but today's show, if you folks missed it, you want to go back and watch that again. It was special, with Dave Winfield talking with Hank Aaron and Frank Robinson about the history, and Dave Winfield was so eloquent with the way he interviewed those guys, the questions he asked them, all 3 Hall of Famers. It was very interesting. And then that segment there with Bob Kendrick was outstanding. It's history, and it's very important. There's a shot. Dave Winfield, fantastic baseball player in his day. He was encouraged by those 2 gentlemen to his right, Frank Robinson and Hank Aaron, and they held that beautiful little talking session there at the museum.
Lorenzo Cain to left center field. Running is Ryan Domet, catcher slash designated hitter, but playing in the outfield because they wanted to get his bat in the game with Morneau off on paternity leave. He makes the catch.
Well, that's one of the reasons that a month ago the Twins gave him a 2-year extension, because they like what he can bring. He brings power as a switch hitting catcher, and he can play some left field. Versatility is a beautiful thing for an organization if you have a player like Domet.
Well, here's the Royals' big slugger, Salvi Perez. Double play.
Rats.
Of T-shirt Tuesday is on July 31st against the Cleveland Indians, and that means the first 10,000 fans will receive a Royals Skyline T-shirt presented by Sprint. Gates open at 5:30, so get there early. Go to Royals.com/T-shirt Tuesday or call 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets. It is a warm evening in Kansas City. We've got the St. Paul colored Gophers in town to take on the Kansas City Monarchs, and KC wearing that Monarchs uniform. Luis Mendoza has been good through his first 3.
Well, he got some runs, which hasn't been something that he's been rewarded with a lot, but he's got 2 runs and he's got that new pitch we talked about. And we went back, our great technical director we have in the truck along with the other guy. Oh, that stayed fair.
Ben Revere, this could be 3. It is a triple to lead off the 4th by Ben Revere.
Cool Papa Bell might have had an inside the Parker on that one. But Revere is not much slower. The inside pitch, that ball was off the plate 2 inches, and he pulls it right by Hosmer, and it wasn't struck very hard. So that's why it took Francoeur a long time to get to it. And the ball didn't get to him, he had to go to it.
The Royals will play their infield back with Joe Mauer up. He lined to the pitcher his first time up.
That's just the 3rd triple for Revere.
Revere just does get back. I think if that throw is on the bag, they may get him, but it's a little high and Moose had to reach up for it.
Yeah, or someplace that would have led Moose to the base. It was just a little bit too high. Salvador is always looking to try to pick off a runner to help the starting pitcher. The reason that Ned's playing him back is that he's got 2-run lead. It's still early in the game, and Mauer is such a good line drive hitter. When you pull the infielders in, that even increases his chances to get one by you. He's a very good hitter. He's going to hit most of his base hits this way. Occasionally he'll pull one, but Mauer is a very good inside-out swinger.
Career .330 average. Chops that one to second. He will be out. A run scores, making it 2-1.
And you know, that .377 average with runners in scoring position, which is 4th best in the American League, is evident to the fact that he can make contact and get runners home.
Josh Willingham has had a great season already against Kansas City with 3 home runs and the game-winning hit last night. Lined a single to right field that played at Joe Mauer in the 11th inning. And the Twins won by that 1 run.
I mean, he's having a great season overall. You see those numbers in 9 games. Certainly he's wearing out the Royals, but that batting. That home run 7th in the league, 23, 68 RBIs is 4th in the American League. He's definitely driving the bus for the Twins.
Down low and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He's now 33 years of age, from Florence, Alabama. And they really picked him up when they allowed Michael Kadire to walk. They needed someone to really help out their 2 great hitters, Mauer and Morneau, and provide protection. And he has done exactly that. Now comes out with a base hit, so he's been on base twice in this game.
Okay, Mendoza, he threw it soft there, a big changeup, and Willingham hit it soft. Okay, there's the cutter. There's the 4-seam cutter that was taught to him by pitching coach Dave Island. See that? Look at the movement on that. See how at the last minute it dips and cuts away? That's called Western movement. Here's the Eastern movement. It moves the other way. Late movement is what gets big league hitters out. And when you have East and West and a little bit of South, you're going to get your share of hitters out.
He's been a little too far north in this game.
He is, and when you're north and you're not overpowering, you'll get whacked. And 69% of his outs are ground balls, and Dave Island knows that.
Mendoza has had base runners in 3 of the first 4 innings.
That's Sam Abramson, an outstanding technical director we have that helped me put that together there to show the movement that Mendoza is getting, and the fact that he's had some really good quality starts his last 3 or 4, and he's been I see him being a horse in this rotation, not just for the rest of the year if he can stay healthy, but in the future as well.
Sam's pretty good in that tape room too. Here's the 1-1 and a ground ball past Hosmer into right field. Willingham will make it to third. They haven't hit Mendoza that hard in this inning. Revere rolled one down the line and worked its way into the corner. Did make it all the way to the wall, but that was a 3-base hit. Mauer grounded out. Willingham dropped one in front of Gordon, and now Domet with a base hit to right field.
Well, this is the life of a sinker ball pitcher. Sometimes they hit him at him, and sometimes they get chop knocks like that. And you just have to not get too upset, keep your composure on that mound, as Mendoza knows, and roll a double play. He's already rolled a couple. Use that pitcher's best friend, stay on your game.
And that's exactly what he did in his last start. Even though he lost to the Chicago White Sox 2-1, he worked around 4 walks. Not one of the walks scored. But he was in and out of jams early. Only lost by a final of 2-1. Right now he has the advantage at 2-1, looking for a double play. Chris Parmelee singled his first time up.
Good spot on the corner. That sinker away from a lefty. If the lefty tries to pull it, he hits the top half of the ball. If he tries to go the other way, he has a better chance of getting it through the infield, because his hands don't roll over.
Again high with the fastball, and he's had more trouble tonight controlling his two-seam fastball than he has with the cutter or his breaking ball. Well thrown.
Okay. But what he's doing now, and he doesn't probably consciously know what he's doing. Look what he's doing. He's kicking the dirt. He's walking around the back of the mound. He's licking his fingers. He's looking around. In the meantime, his infielders are doing the same thing. They're kind of daydreaming a little bit. Get that ball, get on the slab, and throw it. Keep them in it. Keep the rhythm going.
Ground ball short. 6-4. And Betancourt almost threw it away, and a run scores, tying the game. That should have been a double play.
Betancourt tried to be a little too quick, and he couldn't get the grip on the ball, so he traveled. There is traveling in baseball. Watch him. The last ditch effort to throw it was not in time, and they would have been out of the inning. Little things sometimes cost you games, especially when you're 2-8 in your last 10 games. You can't miss.
The little things have really cost the Royals in the last month.
Sure, they talked about cleaning the game up a little bit too, and that's what they mean by that. Clean it up. Focus. And these are big league players. They're not amateurs, and they're not in the low minor leagues. Expect a little more out of them.
Foul. Well, you're right when you consider the fact that Mendoza had done his job. He executed his pitch, threw it in the right spot. They got exactly what they were hoping for. A ground ball struck to the shortstop. It looked like a 6-4-3 double play. But Betancourt had trouble getting it out of his glove, and it ties the game. Dozier was out on a ground ball to short his first time up. They got the force at second base. Ryan Domit in this inning. A triple by Revere, ground out by Maurer, plated a run. Willingham singled, Domit singled, and Parmelee with the ground out was able to force the second run home.
There's a really good curveball he's got to go along with his sinker. Got a nice changeup too. Dave Island has no issues at all with the stuff that comes out of this young right-hander's hand. Hochevar, 7 innings last night. Mendoza, 60th pitch coming. Staying in the game, keeping his team in the game.
Strikes out Dozier. Salvi's throw is in time. The inning is over, but Minnesota gets 2 runs on 3 hits. Moose, Francoeur, Hosmer coming up. Baseball is brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealer. By AT&T, the world's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. The Royals and the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum are paying tribute to Kansas City's rich baseball tradition with this annual salute tonight. There's a look at some of the uniforms we have worn in the past. We are Fox Sports. We are Kansas City.
Come on, let's go, fellas. Get back in this game because Diamond thinks he's in it now. He says, all right, I like it. Even up 2-2, I got a chance.
Moustakas will lead things off, singled and scored the Royals' second run. Kansas City has had a base runner in every single inning. Mike takes a rip but misses on the off speed, and it's 1-1. The Royals are wearing the old Kansas City Monarch uniforms from the 1920 season, and Minnesota wearing the St. Paul colored Gophers. When you take a look at fielding percentage in the American League, the highest at third base, brought to you by Toyota, Mike Moustakas at .968 ahead of Beltre, who's won a gold in the past.
He's won a few golds, and I see one in Moose's future too. He takes pride in his defense. He works on it. I never saw a kid in the batting cage without a bat. He had a glove in his hand and his small little one, and he turned that pitching machine on and got up close to that machine. That thing was throwing about 90, and he was catching them for working on his reaction.
Taps that one foul, and he stays down to the count 1-2.
He's finding out, though, when he faces left-handers, now he's hitting .235 with a couple homers. They're feeding him a lot of breaking balls that start middle and end up away, and they're getting him to swing it over the top of those. So he'll learn as he sees more of them to try to pick it up sooner.
That's a smash to right. Ball is bobbled, and Moustakas is on.
Boy, that's a heck of a play, try by Ben Revere. That's a tough ball, a sinking liner. Now, if Moose gets up underneath that, puts some backspin on it, that's a homer. But this is a great effort here by Revere. Kept it in front of him. Good call by Eric Cooper, the first base umpire, who ran out there to make sure he saw it. And when you're an outfielder and you see a ball hit with topspin, you either come in and get it like he did, or you play the hop and stay back on it, because you can't let it get by you. He did a good job of keeping it in front.
I have a gut feeling about Jeff Francoeur here. He saw a lot of pitches in his last at bat, flied out to right field. But he was getting some good passes at some Scott Diamond pitches, and the fact that he's due.
So if you're going to put a call and dial 8 on him for long distance, go ahead and do it.
All right. Frenchie is due, batting just .190 the last month, and he takes a little bit low. Favorable count, 2 balls, no strikes.
Frank Robinson, when he was a coach for the Orioles for many years, they always in their dugout would let a player have a couple calls during the game, and if you hit the call and you dial 8 and you hit it right, you got a prize at the end of the year, the most guys that got it right.
Well, that won't work. A 6, a 4, and a 3 double play. That is the third double play turned behind Scott Diamond. That has been by far his best friend. You know, earlier we asked the question, who would you most like to have seen play? Text 432-432 and enter the keyword Royals. Well, overwhelming it is Satchel Paige, who played for the Kansas City Monarchs. Josh Gibson was back with New York, and he had 26%. He also played for the Pittsburgh Crawfords, and of course the great cool Papa Bell. But it's Satch who played for the Monarchs. He also played for the Birmingham Barons and for Pittsburgh as well. But he gets the nod, and here is Eric Hosmer.
Could you imagine a big league game today if you saw all the defenders in the field sit down? That's the kind of character that Satchel was, and obviously he had some power and stature that his manager would go along with that.
Well, he did have some rules for staying young that he abided by, which gave him the ability to go deep into the games. He was known to pitch 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 inning games. But he had rules to live by. With 2 outs, it's probably a little late to get to it, but here they are. Number 1, avoid fried meats which angry up the blood, Rex. If your stomach disputes you, lie down and pacify it with cool thoughts. Keep the juices flowing by jangling around gently as you move. Go light on the vices such as carrying on in society. The social ramble ain't restful. Number 5 is avoid running at all times. Never run. And don't look back. Something might be gaining on you. That might be his most popular quote.
Hey, and he was the oldest rookie to ever play Major League Baseball at the age of 42.
Now, I absolutely agree with him about the fried meats. And to pacify your thoughts by thinking cool thoughts and laying down. But the no running philosophy.
Well, he's a pitcher. You know, he didn't want to get his blood pressure up. But are you telling me, growing up in the South here, that fried catfish and fried crappie and fried chicken, he stayed away from those?
It angries up the blood, Rex. Rex, he was a rookie in the Negro Leagues in the 1927 season, and he was sensational. And he was Buck O'Neill's teammate from 1940 to 1947. Those were some glory years in the Negro Leagues. But the sad part was Satchel Paige was probably the best pitcher. Josh Gibson was probably the best hitter, but they selected Jackie Robinson because they knew the difficulty that Jackie would face when they integrated baseball, and they needed a man who was of unbelievable strength and character. And that's why Jackie was selected over Satchel and over Josh Gibson. Betancourt pops it up left side. This should do it. And does. We head to the 5th. Tied at 2. Wants a lunchbox filled with food, and you can come to the ballpark on Friday, August 3rd for Retro Night as we turn back the clock. The first 20,000 fans will receive a Mr. Royal Retro Lunchbox presented by Fox Sports Kansas City. Go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets. You know, school's going to be just around the corner, about a month away.
Less than that.
Yeah, you need a lunchbox like that. You can be... You know, you'll have the fellow students in your new class, and they're going, "Where'd you get that cool lunchbox?" My mom and dad took me to a Royals game.
I agree.
And those kids that want that lunchbacks, they're going to be going home talking to their folks about, you need to take me to a Royals game. Here's a bunt try. Luis has it. His throw in time. AT KCA is out. Fans get downloads up to 50 megabits per second with Time Warner Cable Ultimate Internet. Diamond's top speed 90. Mendoza's topped out at 95. Luis had the one bad inning. It was the fourth. But not one of the hits against him was well struck. It was well placed. Here's Jamie Carroll. The Royals have 2 runs on 7 hits. The Twins have 2 runs on 4 hits.
See those numbers by Carroll.
Escobar going out and is able to get there in time. 2 outs.
Excellent break. You don't catch that unless you get off with your first good step back. Took a look, see where the outfielder was. Gordon, no problem. Might be the best Venezuelan shortstop in the major leagues right now. Escobar could be. I'm saying Asdrubal Cabrera is very talented with the Cleveland Indians. Also, Elvis Andrus, the shortstop for the Rangers, is a good one too. But when you have Omar Vizquel, who was probably the greatest outside of Aparicio, say that he thinks Escobar might be the best out of all.
Really?
That's saying something.
Over Cabrera of Cleveland, huh?
Yes.
Wow.
That's what Vizquel told me. We were just in Toronto. It's a very prideful country and their baseball players there. Soccer might be the #1 sport, but baseball is a close second.
Denard Span has struck out twice against Mendoza. That ball hit to center field. Kane broke back, now comes in, makes the catch, and a splendid inning for Luis Mendoza in number 5. And the Royals, something crazy happened in Philadelphia today. Cole Hamels pitching to Matt Cain in the 3rd, and Cain hits a home run. Pitcher versus pitcher. So let's go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Cain facing Cole Hamels. Pitcher versus pitcher. Look at this. Rex, I don't remember ever seeing anything like that.
Well, you know, you do each other a favor. You throw a fastball, he takes you deep. Now, the common courtesy for the next pitcher to go out there who just took you deep, you give him a few fastballs and give him a chance.
I thought Satchel said go light on the vices such as carrying on in society. The social ramble ain't restful, you know, so sometimes you shouldn't be offering those up. Monarchs here today against the St. Paul Colored Gophers.
Then just go ahead and drill him.
That may be next.
Nah. Hey, did you see the crowd out there in Philadelphia? You can't tell those fans that they're in the cellar in the National League East, 13 and a half games out. That ballpark looked packed.
We've had good crowds here in Kansas City. Despite the struggles of the Royals of late, they are just 4-14. Ned Yost was talking about the team just not clicking on all cylinders. The offense will play well, the pitching will not. The pitching will straighten up and the offense will stay quiet. He just wants everybody just to do their job, not more than what is expected. Gordon lines it sharply to center field, so Alex is 2 for 3. And that is his 34th multi-hit game this year. Joe Goldberg, what's going on?
First time, guys, since 2002 since opposing pitchers have homered in the same game. That one was Kevin Millwood of the Braves and Denny Stark of the Rockies, May 18th, 2002.
Man, Goldie, you're quick. How'd you get that so fast?
I thought it went back farther than that.
I read an article.
I thought we would have gone back many more years, and particularly same inning. Top 3, bottom 3.
Now, I did see a tweet, and I haven't confirmed whether this happened or not, that said that Fernando Valenzuela and Kevin Gross were the last to homer in the same inning.
Oh.
1990. I don't know if that's true or not. But
Joel, can you tell me what distinguishes pitching coach Dave Island from anybody else in the 128 years in baseball?
He was Kevin Costner's body double.
No.
But that's true, right?
Well, yeah, I think.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and
you guys are just
for the love of the game,
filled with great information.
Right, Hud?
He's the only pitcher to ever, in his first hitter he ever faced in the majors, to give up a homer, in his first at bat as a pitcher to hit a homer.
Really?
128 years. Dave Island stands alone.
Monty thinks it was Paul Molitor with the home run.
Escobar bounces one through. Gordon turns second, holds there. But Kansas City has the first 2 men on here in inning number 5. Now, Rex, we have seen 3 double plays turned behind Scott Diamond in this game. What should Billy Butler's approach be?
The same as it always is. Stay inside the ball and try to hit the opposite field gap. And in doing so, with nobody out in this situation, score a run, maybe 2, if not get Escobar to third after he scores the run. Now that keeps you from not rolling over your hands, your wrists on contact, and that's how a lot of guys are grounded into double plays. Stay inside and look for some elevation to the opposite field.
Diamond has allowed just 9 home runs this year, 5 to right-handers, 4 to left-handers. His strength is his great command. Ball 1. His hitting instructor, Kevin Seitzer, said Billy Butler is one of the great students of the game, has a tremendous approach. He may beat him a couple of times, but he will learn from the last at bat and adjust. He hits it pretty well, but to right field. Gordon will tag at second base and go to third and make it safely.
Hey, productive out and had the right approach. So, see that little leg kick, balls out of the middle of the plate. If he tries to pull that now, he could have maybe hit a homer with that, but he had in mind that he was going to try to get the ball that way to stay out of the double play. So if they end up scoring Gordon, you can give that run to Billy Butler.
Now they're talking about the approach to Lorenzo Cain, who twice has had good swings on Scott Diamond. Singled up the middle, Rex, and drove in a run and fly it out to the gap in left center field.
Look at that huddle. That's a team huddle right there without the pitching coach involved. I like that. You don't see that very often. So now look at the catcher. The catcher, which is Joe Mauer, who probably called that team huddle, stood out there and he let the infielders know, if Escobar takes off, if I'm going to throw through to second base to get him, or if I'm going to fake the throw, go to third, or hold it. Those are the three signs he gave, or he gave one of them, of the three options. Ooh.
Line drive left field, bobbled. Gordon scores. Kansas City goes up. Escobar off to third. Safe. Cain likes that first pitch.
He sure does, and you'd have thought that Diamond would have known from the last at bat. He threw him one, and he got the single. There it was, right down the middle. Good stroke. He had some topspin on it. Doman comes in, made an attempt, but a nice job of keeping it in front of him. Now Escobar sees that from first base, and he hits second base and says, you know what? I'm going to make him throw me out. And he hustles into third with less than two runners at second and third, giving his team a chance to add on here.
Lorenzo Cain hustled to second base, opening up first. They'll walk Perez and pitch to Moustakas. And Moose has the only grand slam for the Royals this year. It came in that 5 RBI game he had a little less than a month ago.
You know, this will be Diamond's 14th walk and the second intentional of those 14.
Trying to set up the double play with Moustakas. Like we told you, Moose had a big night on July 2nd in Toronto with an RBI double in the third inning and a grand slam, the first of his career in the 7th.
Diamond did walk Hosmer in the 4th. All right,
that slam.
Toronto. Moose knew it. He got it. You could tell, he told me right away when it left his bat that that was going to be a 4-steak dinner. 4 big steaks. First career slam. Love to see it again here. Don't get me wrong. But straightaway center field, you can't square a ball up any better.
They have Diamond on the ropes.
Big hit here, Fizz. Could send him to the shower. I don't know. Ask Joe Mauer.
Takes a mighty rip, but he didn't give him a first pitch fastball. It was that slider away. Moose has singled twice in this game, once to center, once to right.
Well, Moose has got to know he's going to feed him a bunch of those breaking balls away from him. Batting average with the bases loaded for the Royals has come up. 281.
He pulls it. It is bobbled by Parmalee. Everybody's safe. Kansas City goes in front 4-2.
All right, in Parmalee's defense, watch the bad hop it takes here on the second hop. Took a hop, funny hop, kind of kicked off his shoulder. So yeah, those things happen in baseball, and The Royals will take every little hop, bad hop they can get.
So the bases remain loaded for Jeff Francoeur. He is 0 for 2. Hit sharply, a line drive into a double play, and Frenchie squared it up nicely, but just hit it right at the second baseman. KC, though, scores twice.
And you couldn't drag me off the field. Matter of fact, I missed many a meal at night because I didn't get home in time.
Frank Robinson, one of the toughest players ever, Steve Physiak, along with Rex Hudler, and it was great to hear guys like Hank Aaron and Frank Robinson and Dave Winfield pass information along to the younger athletes so they could understand what some of these guys went through back in the 50s and 40s.
No question. Even as a coach, he passed the game on. My 2 years with the Orioles, he gave me some great advice. I pulled the ligament off my thumb trying to make the team in spring training, and I hit it. I didn't say anything because I want to make the team. And I told Frank, and he said, "Kid, you need to get that thing fixed. If you're a baseball player and you don't have your hands, and your hands aren't 100%, it's going to show in your play, and you're going to be in trouble. Get it fixed." So I went in and told him, and they, sure enough, the ligament popped off the bone. I had to spend 6 weeks getting well. But he was always full of good information. And we talk about how tough Frank was. I saw him and Ray Knight go fist to fist in the training room one day when he was a coach and Ray Knight was a player. It was a beautiful sight.
Well, I always just remember how he would stand on top of home plate, and he got hit countless times.
Ray would needle, Frank would needle Ray Knight until finally Ray had enough of it, and he jumped off that training table, and it was on. I'll never forget that.
Well, I do know that Ray Knight, I believe, was a silver or gold gloves boxing champion.
He was, but Frank didn't care.
Here is the pitch up and in. Ben Revere has to bend out of the way of that one. Revere got the Twins started in that fourth inning when they scored 2 runs. He rolled one down the first base line, just barely past Eric Hosmer. Didn't even make it to the wall, but he's so fast he wound up with a triple. Maurer hit a ground ball to second base that scored him. Willingham then dropped one in front of Gordon in left field, and Domit sent a seeing eye base hit to right field, and Parmalee's ground out scored a run. Now he walks Revere, and Luis Mendoza, as soon as he threw ball 4, took a look to the heavens and said, "What am I doing? I'm walking their fastest guy." Revere has 21 stolen bases this year. He has only been caught 5 times.
That's third in the American League.
And Mauer, such a patient hitter, he will give Revere an opportunity to go.
Last night's game, outside of the outcome, if you're a Royals fan, was well played. It was a good ball game. Tonight we're getting the same thing, even though
a bunt try. Great pick by Hosmer. Wow.
Did you see the magnet at work?
Yes, I did.
There's the magnet. Tough play from Mendoza. Catches it with his bare hand in the palm. Okay, doesn't have a good grip. Just throws a changeup over there, and look at Hosmer starting low and finishing high. Starts down on the ground with his glove. It's easier to start from that position and come up than it is to go up and down. Sweet hands. I asked him before the game, did you know about Donnie Mattingly? He says, I've heard of him. I said, have you ever seen him play? I compare you a little bit with him in the glove. That's it at this particular time in your career. You're not there offensively yet. But Donnie was a magician with the glove, and he always would wiggle his glove, and he always kept his wrist loose, just like Hosmer does. He's always in between pitches. He's moving that glove, and he's moving that wrist, and always having that ability to pick that baseball out of the dirt.
Have you shared that with Eric?
I did today. I told him about that.
Because as soon as you brought it up, Rex, I go, that's right. Mattingly did do that.
Yeah,
he got so low, and he would have that glove right on the dirt. I mean, the entire glove on the dirt.
6-time Gold Glover, Donnie Mattingly.
Revere at second base, 1 out. Josh Willingham has been on twice with a walk and a single. Mendoza hurting himself by falling behind, fell behind Revere, walked him.
Mendoza's done a nice job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. Only 3 home runs. He's given up to righties, 2 to lefties. By keeping the ball down.
One of the things that both of these teams have struggled with this year is power with runners in scoring position. Minnesota is hitting .261 with only 14 home runs in 797 at bats with runners in scoring position. The Royals are even worse. The Royals are hitting just .265 with only 9 home runs in 810 at bats. In comparison, the Chicago White Sox have like 30. Favorable count for Josh Willingham. He with the 23 home runs and 68 RBIs. Now full 3-2. Salvi might be reminding him he doesn't have to give in. First base is open. He would prefer not to put the tying run on.
Might have just said try a sinker down.
How about that cut fastball you asked them to show against Toronto? That was a beautiful thing. Hit to second. Betancourt looks to third, goes to first, 2 outs.
Okay, good spot. Betancourt probably looking around. Escobar's laughing at him a little bit. He's saying, what were you doing? There was 1 out. Now you think about that with there's nobody out and there's a runner at second base, a ball hit on the line to the second baseman. You can get some outs at third on an easy throw, but not with 1.
Ryan Doman has grounded into a double play and singled. Mendoza trying to get out of a jam and hold his 2-run lead here in the 6th. Twins have dominated the Royals this year. They lead the season series 7 victories to 3, and Kansas City has not won a season series from Minnesota since 2003.
That's got to change. We talked earlier that the team had a meeting today, and it doesn't happen all the time in baseball, but I'm sure that Ned brought up the fact that, look, fellas, we're a lot better team than we're playing, than we're showing out there. Let's not let Minnesota catch us.
Minnesota a half game back. And Domet swings and misses. Perez grabs it out of the dirt. Mendoza does a terrific job after the leadoff walk to Ben Revere.
That's nasty.
Diamond on the Hill, and the Negro League jersey auction continues now on Royals.com/auction. Don't miss your chance, fans, to take home a piece of baseball history, because the jerseys being worn by the Royals and Twins during tonight's game will be autographed and auctioned, with all proceeds benefiting the Negro League's Baseball Museum. Select Royals like Eric Hosmer and Twins players are taking part in this great cause and will be autographing those jerseys. You can go to Royals.com/auction now to place your bid and learn more. The Kansas City Monarchs against the St. Paul Colored Gophers. Gophers from the 1909 season. And by the way, this is also our Sonic Slam inning. The 6th, of course, is always our Sonic Slam inning, and our contestant is Randy Robertson from Olathe. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Randy, you will win $3,200. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Randy will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Royals. It has been a while since Hosmer went deep. 81 at-bats. He hit a home run off Alex Cobb of the Tampa Bay Rays. The next pitch will be Scott Diamond's 90th. He has not had one easy inning. Royals have had base runners every single frame. They have 4 runs on 10 hits. Minnesota has 2 on 4. Wow. He just knifed the outside corner. A perfect pitch thrown to Eric Hosmer for strike 3.
Yep, he had his paintbrush out and he was painting. That's what a term that hitters use. He painted me on the black. And the black is said because the rim of the 17-inch plate is covered with a black frame. But you don't see it. It's covered up. Because if it's exposed, it's raised. It's raised about an inch. So if they didn't cover the black of the plate, it would present a hazard for guys that slid into home. They would catch their cleat on it and twist an ankle. So they covered the black of the plate and make it level. You can see a little bit of it right there. Oops. That's not working, but you see it.
Two balls, two strikes. This young man has great command.
Muni's due to pop one out of here, but not with this slider coming.
In the air, left center field. Shortstop Dozier is there to make the catch for the second out. Time for our AT&T trivia question. Is it about number 42, Jackie Robinson? Here's the question. Who are the 5 former Negro League players to be elected to the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown? Well, we have given you the answer of number 1, which is number 42.
Cool Papa Bell.
Satchel Paige. Josh Gibson. Scott Diamond has his first 1-2-3 inning here in the 6th. KC leads it 4-2. Panera Bread, now with 24 KC Metro locations. Visit us online at PaneraKansas.com. And by AT&T UVerse, the new wireless receiver from AT&T UVerse. Visit att.com/free your TV. Rethink possible. Right now, we're rethinking possible by going to Joel Goldberg.
Well, Fizz, thanks. We see Chris Parmalee coming up here to hit, and he is up because the first baseman, Justin Morneau, is on paternity leave. And as of game time, we still had not heard word of whether Justin's wife had given birth to their second child, and about an hour ago, the twins announcing that Justin's wife, Krista, giving birth to a healthy baby boy, born at 5:46 p.m., 7 pounds, 15 ounces, 21 inches, but we do not have a name yet. We do know that Justin Morneau expected to be back with the team Tuesday in Chicago. Their first child will be 2 in September, daughter Evelyn. So great news for the Morneaus.
And, Joel, we do know that they have officially rejected the name Rex.
Well, that's a Canadian thing.
Come on. What's wrong with the dog's name? Let's go.
You know, Hud, the baby boy, we don't know the name yet, will be well schooled on Canadian baseball.
No question. He'll probably have a hockey stick in his hand, too, before long.
Parmalee with a seeing eye base hit to right field. That is the 5th hit off Mendoza in this game. Well, Joe, we're going to answer this trivia question right now. It is our AT&T trivia question. And Jackie Robinson, we know, is one of those. Who are the 5 former Negro League players to be elected to the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown? And the answer is Henry Aaron, Ernie Banks, Roy Campanella, Willie Mays, and Jackie Robinson. I missed on Roy. I don't know why.
That's Al Broughton again, making the questions hard for us.
Sour Broughton. Fastball comes up and in on Brian Dozier. Okay. Dozier would love to get that sinking fastball down where Dozier hits into a double play.
It's coming.
Turn 2.
That was a setup pitch there.
I like it.
Yep. Come up and in. Down and away next.
To right field, right at Francoeur, who makes the catch. And this is just another solid game for Luis Mendoza, Rex. When you go back, this would be his 6th quality start in his last 7 since returning to the rotation on June 12th. And his ERA right around that time is just barely over 3.
Well, Ned Yost, he knew when spring training started that Mendoza had earned his opportunity to pitch up here. But you can also see in that graphic there the total of number of run support he's gotten, which hasn't been a lot. And one of the reasons his record is not as positive. But Ned thinks that Mendoza can be a staple in his rotation for the next few years if he stays healthy.
Did you see the look by Ned McGraw? I said Ned McGraw. Ned Yost looks like John McGraw with that hat on. Can we get a shot of him again? Look at that. Doesn't he look like John McGraw? He could easily have managed back in the 20s or 30s, right out of Central Casting.
He could be a movie star in a baseball picture.
Babe, go get your jersey. Get out of here. Base hit left field. Well, they're getting a lot of base hits on the ground. As a matter of fact, the only hit that was above the infield to the outfield was the ball struck by Josh Willingham in the 4th inning.
Well, and the ball's elevated there. So this is a good piece of hit. Anything up, you go ahead and slap it when you're that type of hitter.
Dave Island out. Jose Mijares warming in the Kansas City bullpen.
So Island probably is reminding him what she knows, that just keep it down. See if we can get Jamie Carroll to roll into his 8th double play this year.
Jamie did roll into 1 back in inning number 3.
9th then.
Solid game. 5 singles allowed, 1 triple. Royals have been able to keep Carroll quiet in this series. He is 0 for 6. Ball 1. foul. They're getting some good shots on him now. And Span is next. He's a left-hander, so Mijares might be getting ready for him.
Mendoza, he's handled Denard Span pretty good tonight. He's got him to strike out twice when Span's one of the hardest guys to strike out in the American League. He's 6th and hardest to fan. But first things first, Jamie Carroll.
Yeah, the ball's getting up now. 2-1. Dangerous time for Luis Mendoza.
He's at 93 pitches. That's how many he threw in his last start against the White Sox. He's thrown as many as 115 against these Minnesota Twins back on the 29th of June, when he went 8 innings and gave up just 1 run.
The next 3 batters are left-handers. That's trouble. A double by Jamie Carroll.
That's why you hear me talk about Jamie Carroll is a pesky, dangerous type hitter, and he didn't hurt you with the long ball. That's coming out. He's gonna do something, put the bat on the ball and put it in play, because he knows his ability, but he also knows that he could just get a lousy single and get a run out of it.
Our Chevy call to the bullpen brings on Jose Mijares. We'll be right back. Fox Sports and the state of Missouri are teaming up to help you stop smoking now. The state of Missouri Tobacco Quit Line. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Luis Mendoza, his evening is not over yet. The guys on second and third base belong to him. He can still win it, but he can also still lose it. And Jose Mijares hopes he can make him a winner by snuffing the rally that Minnesota has started here in the top of the 7th. Mijares will face 3 straight left-handers in Span, Revere, and Mauer.
Good hard fastball. He likes to set up for his curve. He's got a big breaker.
That dots the outside corner at 89 miles an hour.
He'll throw a little slider that doesn't break as much and doesn't have as much depth as his curveball. But he's basically fastball breaking ball against the lefties that he faces. done very well against the lefties this year. 203 average. And 74 at-bats Mijares has against those lefties. That's what he's in for. He's a specialist. Very strong guy. Passionate too. Like his energy.
And he loves facing his old team. He was signed by the Twins as a non-drafted free agent back in 2002. Spent all the way through the organization till last year. 3-1. Three and two.
Okay, Span, he's making him work. And Denard is probably saying, I know you're not going to give me another one of those. If you do, I'm going to be ready for it. 317 hitter with runners in scoring position is Span.
Good speed on with Casilla at third, Carroll at second. Hosmer has it, coming home.
Nice play by Eric. Salvi ran him all the way back, but the fact that Span went to second base, that almost distracted Salvador right there. He wanted to keep that runner off a second. Hey, Hosmer, good job. Trying to make sure that throw was out there in front. Salvador does a good job. Now look, watch Salvi look to second. He sees him and he goes, well, I'm just going to run Casilla out of the ballpark. And he took off. And
the discussion right now, Rex, going on between the third base umpire DJ Rayburn and the home plate umpire Jeff Kellogg is about who occupies third base. Should it be Casilla, who ran off the bag, or Jamie Carroll, who is standing on the bag?
I'm going to say that Casilla is the runner that's out, because he was and also he ran down the third base line and ran out of the line. He ran to left field.
All four umpires are meeting.
Well, in this case, both guys run well, so it's just a flip of the coin as far as speed. Now, if it's a guy like Mauer and Casilla that they're contesting, it could be a difference in that with speed, scoring the run.
Is there any possibility, let's see here, as they return to their respective bases, and Ned Yost is going to come out for an explanation. And Ned's saying he ran. Yeah. He didn't even run to third base. He ran past the base.
He ran all the way out to left field.
And I'm just wondering if they're saying it should be a double play.
Well, Jeff Kellogg, he's in his 20th year as an umpire, and he's probably had a situation like this a few times, I'm sure.
Rex just trying to read lips. It sounds like he's saying he did not run out of the baseline. He did run past the bag.
Okay, well, Log, now he just took off running. Casilla just kept going.
Well, the other boat, he did run to the base and he stepped on third base.
Salvi's trying to push Carroll off the base to get to there.
Well, the result will be Carroll will be at third base and moving all the way to second base is Denard Span, and the batter will be Ben Revere. It will be a moot point. So Marty Mijares can get Revere here.
Well, there's always a chance to learn something in the grand game. You do every day you watch it. And Marty Foster, second base umpire, is explaining to Span about who occupies what, who gets what base.
Revere has grounded out, tripled, and walked. This is the man Mijares wants, not the guy in the on-deck circle Joe Mauer.
Well, seeing how is Luis Mendoza at home this year in 8 appearances, 6 as a starter, is 0-4 with a 5 ERA at home. He hasn't got a win, so Hosmer did a nice job to cut down that tie and run for him, and Mijares can help him by getting out of this inning with 2 outs here and at least help Mendoza get a W here at the K. Oh and 2. Nothing too good. Don't give him anything. He can hit.
It will stay no balls and 2 strikes. We told you Mijares, part of the Twins organization from 2002 through last year. Almost 400 games he pitched in the organization in the minor leagues and the major leagues. Setup pitch, perhaps for a breaking ball, low and away.
Nothing wrong with that pitch at all.
Just barely gets a piece of it. Mijares going for the strikeout. He's been so tough on lefty hitters this year.
You know, this one, after the previous pitch, was a good spot. He threw that hard curve at him and bailed him out, and then that one where was a shorter curve that was intended to get him to do exactly that. So that was a good spot. Maybe try it again.
Lefty's only hitting .203 off Mijares this year. Again blocked nicely by Perez. Now the count is even at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Salvi liked it. He liked the spot there. He's shaking his head yes to Mijares.
In the air, left field, easy play for Gordon. Makes the catch at the line, inning over. Minnesota scores a run on 3 hits. KC still leads by 1. Is brought to you by the Missouri Division of Tourism. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. We're looking at Johnson's Shut-ins State Park in Middlebrook. Johnson's has been a favorite of State Park. Many visitors for many years. The park is a geological wonder. Many people enjoy its beautiful day-use area. Johnson's Shut-ins State Park in Lesterville. While we have the time, we'd like to get an explanation on that play at third base from Joel Goldberg.
into the outfield. Now, here's where things get interesting here, and we'll see the rundown again. If both guys end up on the bag, the lead runner, which would be KCA, would have the right to the bag. Carroll would have been out. But now here, as soon as he goes beyond the bag, and look at that tag of Jamie Carroll. That's interesting for this reason. If they had tagged Jamie Carroll, Salvador, before KCA ran into the outfield, you would have had a double play because, you see there's the tag, but it's too late. At this point, he has already been deemed out of the play, KCA. He is out. The next runner has a right to the bag. So that's basically it there, is by going to left field, he takes himself out of the mix. He's an automatic out, and then the bag is occupied by Jamie Carroll.
Joel, thank you
that
very
make sense?
much. Yes, it does. Perfectly.
But you could have had a double play. The timing was a little different.
At first, I didn't know that KCA had touched third base. I just thought he ran past it. Here is the new pitcher, Jeff Gray. Gray taking over for Scott Diamond. And Gray's been pretty sharp this year with a 5-0 record. Rather high ERA. Escobar punches one to short. Dozier will throw him out. Kansas City needs some insurance runs. They've had so many close games this year. So many that have gone against them. And here is Billy Butler, a guy who can provide the big fly. He has 18 home runs this year and 56 RBIs. Last night's loss was Kansas City's 27th one-run decision this year, with the Royals now 14-13 in the closest of margin decisions. And you couple that with 20 contests determined by 2 runs. Kansas City has had 47 of their 92 games decided by 2 runs or fewer. And as you said, Hud, how about a blowout? Minnesota had a 19-7 win last week over Baltimore. That's what the Royals want. One that cleans out their carburetors.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer, and no one has to worry about every single pitch.
A game that would make the Monarchs proud. Ooh, Billy had one in his wheelhouse.
Jeff Gray, he's got a good fastball. He'll go to mid-90s with it. 4-seamer, slider, changeup. Gray's a Missouri native.
Butler gets a base hit, so another multi-hit game. He and Alex Gordon are tied for 4th in the American League with 34 multi-hit games this season.
Stay up the middle. That away. Billy's had a nice day at the plate. He hit into a double play in his first at-bat. He hit the ball hard, though. He got a base hit, and then he got a sacrifice, or actually he drove a ball to right field and moved the runner over, and they scored Gordon. And then now with that base hit.
But what the Royals need, they need power. They need an extra base hit. They have 11 singles in this game, thus only 4 runs.
So how about now Lorenzo Cain?
He has 2 on this homestand, and he has had some good swings. 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs.
You know, Cain is a very tall player, tall and lean. He reminds me, with minus the speed, he looks to me a little bit like Willie Wilson with his build. Willie was a tall player, big guy, and wore number 6 as well as Lorenzo Cain. Maybe that's why he reminds me of him, just physically. Not too many guys were blessed with Willie Wilson's speed, ability. In fact, he could hit. He was a player. Fun to watch him. I hope we get to see him here soon.
Well, you're right, because he was tall and lean. He was a great running back in high school.
Who, Willie Wilson or Lorenzo?
Willie Wilson. That ball struck well deep left center field, and Lorenzo Cain knocks it off the wall.
Come on, Billy.
Billy chugging home. He will make it.
There you go. There's your workout. Billy, your day's complete. Way to go. Lorenzo Cain put a charge into one. Not enough elevation to get it over the wall in left center, the 387 mark, but he hit it off the wall, and Billy needs some oxygen. Look at that. Lorenzo Cain squaring up the ball. Nice lean. He leaned back on him there. Hit off the wall. Have a night, Lorenzo Cain.
As Satchel Paige said, avoid running at all times.
Billy runs pretty well for a DH.
You'll hear about that from Mr. Butler. But how about Lorenzo Cain? He has 3 hits in the game, Rex, and all 3 hits are with guys on base, and he has knocked in 3 of Kansas City's 5 runs.
3rd career 3 RBI game for that young man there, and you know, he's trying to get his legs into the kind of shape that he can really show his skills. And so that's why Ned's been putting Dyson in late in games for him. But way to drive the bus, Lorenzo Cain.
3 for 4. Each hit provided an RBI. 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 5th, 1 in the 7th. And Cain gets a break.
Dyson 6th in the league with 17 stolen bases. KCA keeping him close at 2nd.
Dyson is the Royals' version of Cool Papa Bell. Speed. He has 17 stolen bases this year with 1 out. Would you think about it?
Why not? If you can get a good lead. It's 3rd base is easier to steal than 2nd.
And KCA is kind of moving behind him, trying to shorten Dyson's lead.
Well, Gray's pretty quick home.
Yeah.
So that'll tell Dyson that, you know what, I'm already in scoring position. Salvador's a good hitter.
It was just a suggestion.
Nah, that's okay. He's already where he needs to be to score a run. He's not about padding his stats. If Gray took more time getting the ball home to Mauer, then he might could think about it.
They green light Salvi on 3-0, and he missed his pitch.
Had a good rip, though. You get the green light 3-0. You don't want to get cheated. You want to go ahead and have that home run swing, and he did.
I had a great discussion with Salvi before the ball game about the success of Luis Mendoza since he's returned to the starting rotation on June 12th. I said, Salvi, what is the difference with Luis lately? And he said, I'm catching him. And then, of course, he laughed. But I love the confidence this 22-year-old kid has. And then he went into a lot of the things you have been talking about, Rex, with the cut fastball and the ability to locate his slider. But the way he's mixing and matching 2nd, 3rd time through the order with certain lineups.
Luis Mendoza has a chance to become a horse. He's a little young stallion right now, but he has a chance with as big as he is, the ability to go deep into ball games and use his defense for double play balls. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm sure Ned Yost is too.
Rip to left, dome it right there, has a chance to get the double play. The ball gets away from the shortstop. Dyson will stay put.
Dyson got a little too far down that line, but he was able to get back.
And Ron Gardenhire will make a pitching change. Here's the play again, Hud.
Yeah, he was 3/4 of the way down the line. Now watch him as he slides in here. Okay, the ball gets by KCA.
we have a pitching change. Gray is out. Our Chevy call to the bullpen. Kansas City with a 5-3 lead. Over the Minnesota Twins. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. The Royals still have a man at second base in Gerard Dyson, and Brian Dunsing comes out of the bullpen to try and get out Mike Moustakas. He has outstanding numbers, Rex, against left-handers. Lefties only batting .169 against him. 12 hits in 71 at bats, and that's why they brought him on to face the Moose.
Sinking fastball, slider. Got a little cutter in there. Pretty good changeup, too, against righties. But he'll be breaking the ball away from Moose. Moose done a good job so far with runners in scoring position, hitting .291. That's not too bad.
He's been on base all 3 times. 2 hits, 1 error. Reached on the error by Parmelee. Dunsing, the former roommate of the Royals' Alex Gordon at Nebraska. Ball 1.
Two-run lead's not enough. You got to get greedy. Do whatever it takes.
One ball, 1 strike.
You know he's going to give you a fastball in this at bat, and there it was. Got to be ready for it.
In the air to left field. Doman makes the catch. The Royals do get that run back and push their lead back to 2. 5-3 Kansas City.
Twins here at the Cave. Joel Goldberg back as Panera takes us around the league. Tigers take over first place in the American League Central 7-1 as they rock Chris Sale. Texas all over Los Angeles. Irvin Santana giving up 6 runs in just an inning and 2/3. Baltimore late over Cleveland. Jim Thome, 611th career home run. J.P. Arancibia gives the Jays a lead with the home run. Seattle ahead of Tampa Bay late in that one. New York and Oakland just underway. And as for that big battle in the American League West, a home run derby for Texas as they hit 4 home runs in the second and third inning. Yorby Torrealba had his third of the year. Mike Napoli had a pair of home runs. And it is all Texas over Los Angeles in that one. As for here, we go back to Fizz and HUD.
We head to Anaheim next after tomorrow's game, and here is Joe Mauer. And there is his biggest fan, and that is rather gross.
Well, you'd think he'd take a bath once in a while and wash that off. All that dirt, or is that hair?
That was hair.
Come on.
Yes. That was rather disgusting. And so is that.
Now, how do you think you made his mother feel?
I'm sorry. Anybody who shaves their back hair to salute Joe Mauer or any other human being or animal. I'm sorry.
He loves baseball, man. He likes Mauer.
The guy behind him saying, "I can't believe my dad did this." Wow. His wife did that to him while he was sleeping.
You think he's married?
Oh, HUD. We better get back to the game.
Tell you, last time.
I don't know which cameraman found that.
Well,
Donnie Miller? Oh, way to go, Donnie.
Well, it takes one hairy guy to know another one. But last time up, Mauer did Mendoza a favor. He tried to bunt for a base hit, and he didn't get it where he wanted it. So a run producer that's 4th in the league and knocking runs in with runners in scoring position tried to bunt, and it didn't work. That was a favor. Hosmer made a great play over there.
Ooh. Knocked it down. Escobar, bare hands, doesn't have a chance. Mauer has an infield hit.
That likely would have gone through had Mijares not touched it. Escobar, that's all he could do was just try to do a one-hander.
Yes.
There's your buddy.
Aaron Crow is coming out of the bullpen because Josh Willingham, a dangerous power hitter from the right side, is coming up. Unbelievable. Jose Mijares gave up an infield hit to Joe Mauer, so Aaron Crow comes out of the bullpen this year with a 4.08 ERA. In his last game against Seattle 3 days ago, he gave up 2 runs in 2/3 of an inning. He will face Josh Willingham, who has hit in 9 straight games, batting over .450 in that time. Aaron trying to keep it down, get Willingham to swing at it and ground into a double play. Willingham has hit into 6 double plays this year.
Crow's best pitch is slider. He's got a pretty good mid-90s fastball too.
Ground ball third. 1, 2.
Nice start to the double play. Moustakas, I believe he leads the league in third baseman in starting double plays. And there's just another one added on there. Very quick. First guy sure, second man quick.
Ground ball, Betancourt. Aaron Crow, great job. Didn't even break a sweat. Double play, ground out to second. Royals take a 2-run lead, bottom 8. Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Tony Oliva, former Minnesota Twin, as we pay tribute to the Negro Leagues. There's Ron Gardenhire looking like an old school manager. And we saluted the Negro Leagues, the Kansas City Monarchs, and the St. Paul Colored Gophers. Those were the uniforms that the two teams wore today. Number 42, Jackie Robinson, who was a Kansas City Monarch and played with one of our favorite Monarchs of all time, Buck O'Neil, from 1940 through the 1947 season. So it has been a wonderful evening, and we could cap off this beautiful evening with a Royal victory. Mastroianni comes into the game and plays right field, and Ben Revere moves to center field. I'm not sure if there's something wrong with Denard Span, because he's a very solid outfielder. Jeff Vancourt to lead things off. Brian Dunsing staying in the game because Hosmer is waiting on deck. Then you go with the right-hander Betancourt. If anybody gets on, lefty Alex Gordon.
There could be a few reasons they took Span out. Tomorrow's a day game. It'll be hot, middle of the day. Maybe they want to get him off his feet. Or it might be a little far-fetched to say, but maybe they traded him. It's a trade deadline. They've been
not yet. Not until July 31.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you never know. His name's been mentioned out there a lot.
Yes.
Get in there for Frenchie.
It does. And Francoeur has his first base hit of the game, and now going to second. Hustle by Jeff Francoeur.
Yeah. That's a way to press the pedal to the metal. Dozier, it tipped off his glove. So that slowed the ball down, but Francoeur gets that coming out of the box, charging hard. Okay. That slowed it down enough, and when Frenchie hit first base, he looked up and said, I'm not stopping. Look at that hard turn. Sees the play in front of him. That's exactly what Ned Yost is talking about today in his meeting, I'm sure. Keep being aggressive on the bases.
Bobbled by the third baseman. He still has time. Now Frenchie goes to third. Alert base running by Francoeur.
I think Frenchie likes his new uniform. He wants to get it good and dirty. Look at how baggy the pants are. That's comfortable. Now, if they're wool uniforms, you sweat a lot in them, but there's a difference. Nowadays, they wear their pants baggy anyway, but look at this reaction. He takes a couple steps back and he believes he can beat it. In the 80s and 90s, the uniforms were worn very tight to players. Everything was really tight. In the 2000s, they started wearing more baggy uniforms. But it was comfortable to wear these old-time uniforms back in the days when the uniform was so tight because you felt loose. You felt really loose with the baggy pants, and it's not a bad fit for players.
And also the flannels held that moisture in. Betancourt chops one to left. In comes Francoeur. Kansas City goes up by 3. Betancourt to second with a double.
It's contagious. The Royals look tonight like a team that's playing after they just got charged up by their manager. Aggressive, going hard, taking extra bases. We've seen it the entire game today. I think Ned kind of had to lay the law down. Getz comes in to pinch run. Look at the chop knock. Third baseman in. There's nothing better than that. Betancourt thought he had a chance for a double right when it was hit. So he kept going hard. Whenever you see that as a hitter, you leave the batter's box saying, I got a chance for 2. It's like Frenchie did.
But really, if you go back and look at it, Rex, the Royals do not score unless Francoeur hustles for the double. If not, he's at first base, and Hosmer hits into an inning-ending double play. Instead, the ball gets bobbled by the third baseman. Frenchie breaks from second, gets to third. The infield has to come in. So it's the little things you talked about. And you've said this many times that we have worked together as you see Dunsing face Gordon. Even when you're in a slump, you said there's always one thing you can control.
And that's hustle. And that's going hard and being aggressive, just like they did in the Negro Leagues. They played because they didn't know if tomorrow was going to come, if they were going to get a chance to play. They played like there was no tomorrow. And that's an aggressive style and pride in your job as a big leaguer. Pressure opponents, especially if you have speed.
And Getz makes it to third with 1 out. Kansas City has upped their lead to 3, trying to make it 4, and when the two college teammates face each other, Dunsing and Gordon. Joe Mauer did not have a chance at that pitch in the dirt. Eddie Rodriguez talking to Chris Getz.
If you look, there you see these two guys, they're friends. Here in the split screen. But if you look back to last year to the Royals, they played hard and good the second half of the season. And they did it by aggressive base running. And they were much more aggressive, taking extra bases. And that's what's been missing so far. Now they're down in the American League in runs scored. And I think Ned's saying, you know what, let's just change it back around a little bit and get a little more aggressive on the bases, fellas. And I'll start turning you loose. But let's take advantage of what we have. And that is youth and speed.
Gets a third. Has two old friends hook up on the mound and at the plate. Dunsing and Gordon. We told you roommates at Nebraska. They were also in each other's weddings.
In the first 6 times they faced each other, Dunsing struck out Gordon all 6 times.
Wow. Will there be a payback? Yes, there will be a payback.
He might go for 2.
Getz scores to make it 7-3 Kansas City.
Yes, everything's contagious. The doinkers, the broken bat singles, and how about the extra base? Ben Revere, the center fielder, came in because that ball wasn't hit hard, and he came in and picked up that ball and flung it to second, thinking for sure another guy was going to take an extra base. This is what you do to your opponents. Watch Revere, the center fielder, when he picks this ball up. Well, he scrambled. Gordon is able to fight off Dunsing's inside jam shot with the infield drawn in. That's a good look at him. Now look at him. So Revere says, I know he might be going for 2 like the rest of them have. And that kind of pressure makes you throw the ball off, and that's what we're talking about, aggressive base running.
Dunsing out. The Royals are putting a hurting on the Minnesota Twins in the 8th inning. Game. Kansas City has 15 hits tonight, 7 runs. Alex Burnett comes out of the bullpen to throw for the Twins, as KC has scored 2 times in the 8th inning. The Royals have really thrown up a lot of 1s and 2s on the scoreboard. 1 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th.
So don't stop. Don't let off the accelerator. The aggressive base running that we're seeing tonight in Minnesota, seeing as Joe Mauer calls another little meeting, has really stirred the Twins up a little bit. They're talking about Gordon if he's going to run. You know, good time for a hit and run here. While they're running the bases like they can, why not mix in a hit and run with one out here? Keep it going. Escobar's a perfect guy. He hits the ball on the ground to the opposite field. Gordon could get to third base. That's what I mean by not letting up on the accelerator.
Big swing by Escobar, who's been on twice with an error and also a single. It's facing Alex Burnett, who came out of the bullpen. Burnett has been solid in the pen for them this year. He's not a strikeout guy, though. He's usually a ground ball, sinking fastball. They're looking for the double play here. He got it up, and it's 2-1. Burnett is pitching in his 41st game. He's thrown 45 2/3 innings, allowed 39 hits, 18 walks, that's quite a bit, and 19 strikeouts. Just one more strikeout than base on balls. Gordon has 3 steals in 6 attempts. Does not go, and Escobar lines one to left. "13 singles by Kansas City and 3 doubles."
Okay, it's an elevated pitch to a hot hitter. He knows exactly what to do with that. You send Gordon, it's first and third. Gordon with 3 stolen bases this year. Last year he had 17. To me, you could send Gordon more. He could be more aggressive. The way he's hitting and his on-base percentage like it is, he's getting out there.
Alex had 17 stolen bases last year, Rex. More than last year, Kansas City seeing more pitch outs, seeing more throws by the pitcher over to first base, and pickoff tries by catchers. Butler had a good rip.
And Billy's hit the ball hard every time up. He's looking for another one there. Likes that pitch down. Good swing, just a little bit out front.
As this young team grows up, even Billy Butler, who's just 26. With Butler, Escobar, who's just 25. How to play right side. Salvi Perez is 22. Moustakas 23. Hosmer 22. And those singles, all of a sudden, as you grow up, turn into doubles and home runs. Kansas City with 7 runs on 16 hits. The Twins with 3 runs on 8 hits. KC trying to even this series at 1 win each. And tomorrow, Sam Deduno will go for the Twins against Jeremy Guthrie, making his Royal debut.
Going to be a big start for him. And a lot of Royals fans be holding their breath to see what they got for Jonathan Sanchez. Should be exciting. But the first things first, they got to get this W here.
Line to the first baseman. They get the double play. That's the 5th double play turned by Minnesota in this game. Still, Kansas City scores 2 to take a 4-run lead to the 9th.
Top of the ninth after the game, we'll have Boulevard Royals Live. Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery will be on hand to break it down. Luis Mendoza, last 7 starts, 6 of them have been quality, including tonight's. We'll talk about that. Lorenzo Cain's 3 RBI night, and we'll start to get you ready for Jeremy Guthrie's Royals debut tomorrow afternoon against the Twins. That and much more coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. Steve?
I thought that was Joel and Monty for a second, but nope. They've got their shirts still on. Way to go, guys. Royals fans can spell. Aaron Crow stays in the game. He was fantastic, and his pitch efficiency was incredibly. Threw 3 pitches, Rex, in that 8th inning and got 3 outs. Got a double play on a ball hit by Josh Willingham, and then Domit, first pitch swinging, grounded out. So he stays in to face Chris Parmalee, Brian Dozier, and AT KCA. In there, strike 3 called.
All right, I can see Crow come out there with that nice slider. That was elevated a little bit. It was on the inner half of the plate. It locked him up.
And fans, you still have time to check out one of a kind auction now taking place. Select jerseys being worn by the Royals and Twins during tonight's game will be autographed, authenticated, and auctioned, with all proceeds benefiting the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. Players from the Royals taking part include Billy Butler, Alex Gordon, Eric Hosmer, Lorenzo Cain, and Alcides Escobar. And the auction is currently open, so go to royals.com/auction now to place your bid. Joel has talked to Bob Kendrick, who's the president of the Negro Leagues Museum, a couple of times, once in his pregame and once during the game.
Okay, are they going to wash the uniforms before they auction them? Because I want one with game dirt on mine.
That's a good point. I think it could be negotiated, Hud.
Well, they better tell them before they get them in the wash after the game.
You want the dirt, the blood, the tobacco juice. You want baseball on that jersey. Dozier tries to get one. Dyson coming on to make the catch. Time for our AT&T U-verse reverse replay. It's about Jeff Francoeur.
Frenchie going hard, setting the tone for the rest of them. Take the extra base. If they give it to you, take it. Look at him. He's going to go ahead and go to third base. Like the uniform's dirty, playing hardball. And here he comes home. Look at that. Good aggressive base running. Got him that run. Got a lot of love in the dugout.
Now with 2 outs, the batter is AT KCA, and Aaron Crow trying to nail this game down.
Good opportunity for the fans to get up here at the K. They haven't gotten up as often as they wanted to in the 9th inning this year so far.
A tapper, Escobar, game over. Royals win it 7-3. Dad celebrating with daughter. Pop, I want to go to another game. Lorenzo Cain, what a game. 3 hits, all 3 hits drove in a run. And Kansas City with a 7-3 victory as we pay tribute to the Negro Leagues. And the Royals, representing a winning franchise, the Kansas City Monarchs, who won 10 league titles before integration and won the first Negro League World Series back in